what's the day to day like? I want to know what your day to day was like, and when you were working in the food industry, and like when you were working for the Canadian Navy.
So food industry is and shipbuilding is totally different, right?
Okay.
So food industry, you're having a 24-hour running production plan, and basically we are the part of a maintenance team. Our job is to keep plant running. So there will be like some machine stops or there is some breakdown or something, and then we get the alarm. Then we have to rush out, try to fix it as soon as possible. These are very high Tetra Pak machines. They make 60 or 100 packs a minute. Right. So you're losing that. Now there are Tetra Pak machines making 1,000 packs a minute. So every minute is loss of.
From fixing machines to rebuilding homes, Navtej's journey is one of grit and reinvention. A first-generation immigrant turned franchise owner, he's using tech to transform the restoration industry. Let's dive in.
Thank you so much, Navtej, for like being so flexible. I did
No,
not.
no worries, Apurva. Generally, I spend like half a day on Saturdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
in the
you
office.
you work through the weekends?
Every day. We are 24/7 company, right? So
Yeah.
practically I have a job like 24 hours. We have call center, so in case like if I'm sleeping or something, the calls goes on our call center. The real human answers, triage those calls, and then if there is something like really important, somebody is having like a really bad issue, they generally they wake me up, and then
Wow.
we attend it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Navtej, let's start with your background, your education and schooling, and then we can go into like I've noted down a bunch of things like building operations and maintenance. You've done it for like residential buildings as well as like hotels. So like how that is different, because this is an area that I haven't explored before. I learned what millwright is yesterday. So it would be nice to learn this. And also it would be interesting for the audience as well to like learn like what's happening in the background. These are like roles happening in the background that no one ever notices. Yeah, if you can start with your background.
So I'll stand right away. I'm a first generation immigrant, right? And now there is so much like bad publicity going on. So I need to touch that topic too. So I grew up in India, Maharashtra, rural Maharashtra. My first language is, I'm born in Sikh Punjabi family, but my first language is Marathi. So initial education was in Marathi medium, no English. English started in grade 5. I did 2 diplomas in engineering, mechanical and automotive engineering. Then I did degree in mechanical engineering from Mumbai University. I worked for a few years in power generation, pulp mill, paper and pulp mills, machine manufacturing, and then automotive industry in India. And then in 2008, I came to Canada. And when I came in, there was a struggle to get into industry because it was a bad time. There was a recession and there was a bias against like international education. There was no recognition at that time, even though Canadian government brought me here with a PR under skills worker program, but the industry wouldn't recognize. So I went back to school and through BCIT, I got my power engineer certificate. I got class 4, so started working in it, gave me a foot into the industry. And then I started working for a company called Caprite, and I was doing building maintenance, basically, like anything from HVAC. And then where we were. Okay.
So you were just saying that you did your education in BCIT and then you started working.
It gave me a foothold into building maintenance industry. Eventually, I got a job into my own field, which was engineering, and I worked in food industry for next 14 years. Breweries, solid food, growing. I was chief engineer with the Windset farms in Delta. And after that, I realized there is more money into trades. So I challenged and got my Red Seal ticket for millwright. So millwright is actually, when you were saying like millwright was the older terminology. The new terminology, industrial mechanic. Because in old times, millwright used to like create the like wheels, right? and that's where the history came from, like in 1700s and 1800s, right? Basically, the millwrights used to work with the iron and that kind of forging and forming and shaping. But now millwrights deal with all kind of stuff. Like we not only mechanical engineering side, now there is a robotics, there is instrumentation, automation is coming in. There is heavily integration of computer science into the industry. So all that is coming through.
Let's go back. I want to focus a bit on the building maintenance and the operation side, like when you were working there. Like, how was it for residential buildings compared to commercial buildings?
So commercial buildings actually has, when I was working as a building tech, that was primarily for a residential building. So the capital is basically owns the residential buildings, and I was looking after Gary Point Park location. They had around 300 apartments there, and additionally we had in Richmond another 1,000 apartments. Everybody's know like what's the issues in the older buildings in the residential buildings, like the plumbing, HVAC, electrical issues, appliances, all that kind, right? The commercial buildings are a little bit different. Like for example, the Air Canada building. So they got huge HVAC system, very big, and then they are like huge hangars. There is industrial applications out there. So it varies in that way. But if you go to, let's say, go to Burnby, and then there is a big complex of hub insurance building or few buildings which are purely commercial, they will have office space. So their occupancy is not 24 hours. Their needs and demands are a little different. Office buildings are always newer side, and they are well maintained as compared to residential. They always have renovation going on. Every few years they get renovated. They have different demands and needs as compared to residential.
It's interesting because like when I was exploring this topic yesterday, like the other thing must also be like apartment buildings have like amenities like pool and gym. Even office buildings have gym now.
Office buildings nowadays are having gyms. They won't have pool. Like, I don't know, maybe like Google may have it, but for very big buildings might have it. Nowadays, like a small recreation area is common thing in official spaces.
And what I'm guessing is like the frequency of the work also varies, like how many times you're called in.
Oh yeah. But in commercial building, the response time is always short. They need it done very quickly. Whereas on residential building, it depends. What kind of if it is very high-end residential buildings, it could be like concierge service kind of things, like just like a hotel, like you have to do it pronto. But if you are dealing with like a assisted housing, those people, the poor people might like get service after weeks maybe. Unfortunately, that's how the market is, right? They get smaller budget. They don't have that much big workforce available to cater to the all, and those buildings are also get broken down frequently and more often.
And then you became an industrial mechanic or millwright. And then I also looked up like you covered like what you were doing in like building maintenance and operations, and then you became a millwright. And I saw that you also worked in like the shipbuilding project for Canadian Navy once. And like how was it versus like the food industry? You were working in dairy industry.
So frankly speaking, the last job in my food industry was Happy Planet, the smoothies and that thing. And I kind of got bored. Like it was like same thing like for 14-15 years. And I was feeling like jaded there. So I decided to explore something new. And then this opportunity came through we were part of the union, and it's the same union for Happy Planet and C-SPAN. So the transfer was like easy, like just I was already on their what you call the list and just moved up there. And that was very different experience. I was there almost 2 years.
What's the day-to-day like? I want to know what your day-to-day was like when you were working in the food industry and like when you were working for the Canadian Navy.
So food industry is and shipbuilding is totally different, right?
Okay.
So food industry, you're having a 24-hour running production plan, and basically we are the part of a maintenance team. Our job is to keep plant running. So there will be like some machine stops or there is some breakdown or something, and then we get the alarm, and then we have to rush out, try to fix it as soon as possible. Because these are very high speed, like Tetra Pak machine, that makes like 60 or 100 packs a minute. Right. So you're losing that production. Now there are Tetra Pak machines making 1,000 packs a minute, right? So every minute is loss of production. So there is a huge pressure on you to do that. And sometimes we are dealing with the older machines, like 30 or 40-year-old machines. Some of the parts are not even available. You have to make it running. You have to keep on running. So you have to think out of the box sometimes. And when you are free, when there is no calls, we do a general maintenance or a preventive maintenance kind of thing, like servicing the machines which are not working. Some, let's say one line is being used, so we'll go and do the service, like monthly service or changing lubrication, or there is a like whole SOP how to do that. we used to do that. So that was the day-to-day life. Whereas in the shipbuilding, everything is pre-planned. Your whole 2 to 3 years planning is there, and then teams are divided depending upon their function. So mechanical teams will be different. They will be mostly installing parts on the ship. Then there is electrical teams are different. Some teams are just put on the conduit wires. That's their job from morning to evening. They're just laying down the conduit. Some other team are connecting the panels we are installing the panels, electricians connecting those panels to the whatever the electrical lines are there. And then there's a pipe fitting teams. So there are different teams. So initially when I started with the maintenance team. I was also part of the team which were installing the equipments, like large equipment, small equipments, a lot of rigging stuff. And then I got to move to material management, and that's what I was doing for them. So many things happening, and it's very chaotic, but you have to have very precise things. Like you cannot even change a single bolt from its specification to something else. Everything is very, very rigid.
Makes sense. And then I'm guessing you started your own company, PuroClean. You're a franchise owner. How is that going? Why did you decide to become a franchise owner? And I'm guessing it's more structured if you're a franchise owner. Yeah.
So actually what happened during COVID, I started my own company. So Pratic Mechanical Services. And this is basically a consultancy industry, because I found out during COVID, there was a huge gap or vacuum where the people were not available. So I took that opportunity to supply, I had a network of people like me and who could use some extra working hours. So we were providing skilled worker to those companies. And then after COVID, I diversified into other industries, from food industry towards mechanical industries, fabrication industries, and eventually into civil construction too. One of my clients actually brought me into this. I got referred to PuroClean, and they have very strict qualification process. The qualification for PuroClean was toughest in my life for any job interviews I have given so far. So PuroClean was the toughest. We did 6 months of research, created a plan, and Victoria location is the last A-tier city, which I got it, and it was virgin territory. There was no franchise before, there was nobody who's doing PuroClean as a franchisor. I get to start it, develop it, and run it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's huge.
And what's the technology that you're using? Are you using any technology to manage everybody, all the calls? You mentioned call center earlier.
Oh yeah. So yeah, as you said, PuroClean is very structured, right? That's one advantage of being a franchise business is everything is already there. The system is there. You don't have to invent a wheel again. So you just need to plug in and implement those things. So the restoration, flood and fire restoration, that normal category, but we are also into mold and biohazard. That's the one part is restoration, and then there's another part is repair. So I'll come back to that later. Restoration industry is governed by IICRC certification authorities, and that's a US based, recognized in 6 countries right now: US, Canada, Mexico, China, India, and bunch of European countries. And I have a feeling in next 10 years it will be world. The standard will be applied in the whole world. In older time it used to be just drying. Now it is very scientific, structural drying. Every technician who is certified, he has to get the certification, where to do the courses and get certified from that, and then we have to keep on working. Just like Red Seal program, but Red Seal is very Canadian and provincial. Here it is international. PuroClean also has PuroClean Academy. We got our own education system. So all our employees get free education. When we hire them, the day one, we create their account in the academy, and they start learning from.
Sorry, we never covered, just for the audience, we never covered what PuroClean does.
Yeah. So as I said,
why is this a problem, and why you need to be there as a solution?
So we call ourselves paramedic of properties. So let's imagine it's a 2:00 Sunday night, and this is a real life scenario. It happened. So 2:00, high-rise building, fourth floor, one of the apartment boiler breaches, and it starts pouring down water, and it's huge, right? Now that water is not going to just stay there. It's going to keep on coming down. So all 4 apartment in the same, got affected. The water was pouring down. Now the lady, first thing is you need to do is call plumber. Good luck if you can get plumber at 2:30 in the morning. So she is trying. Nobody is answering. And then she went online and saw and there are the emergency numbers. So she called and I got connected. On that day I was traveling. I was in Vancouver, but I called my crew and I asked him to go there immediately. 2:30 person was there, 2:35 or 2:33, and he was able to shut down the main valve in the main supply line. So at least we stopped the pouring water in, and then after that we needed to wait till the plumber gives us a green line. That's the requirement from that. We need to have a plumber who can say, okay, the leak is contained, now we can start drying. So water is a life, right? What is a life? Without water we are not going to survive. But water is also number one enemy of a building structure, because water always finds a least resistance path. It penetrates to the places where you can't even imagine. And when leak happens, and leak could be flooding from groundwater because of rain. It could come from the roof. It could be coming from like a boiler or some appliance, dishwasher, or it could be coming from a smallest line which is supplying to the fridge, refrigerator supply line. Every month I get 2 to 3 cases where somebody put $1,500 fridge, but they put $5 cheap line to the connected water line. That water line snapped. They didn't realize because it's a slow leak and it flooded the whole kitchen floor. And now it's a $20,000 loss. So that's why you need us there. But as soon as you realize there was a water, and no matter how small, you should call a restoration company. Then we go on immediately, conduct the inspection, and then we advise if it is a small containment, it can be done by just wiping or something, or if it needs to be escalate to insurance. So to get the claim and then start the drying immediately. But drying has to start immediately. There is no waiting time there. Insurance authorizes us to go ahead and do it without approval. We don't need any approvals to start drying, because the more you wait, the damage is going to be more extensive and more expensive.
You were mentioning earlier in the episode about automations. What kind of automations are happening in this industry?
Right now, our job is after catastrophe. Automation is to prevent it, right? So, for example, when I go in and when we leave after, so we do the remediation, restore, and then restoration part comes under repair. And every time when I leave, I give some ideas to the owners to how to use smart technology. For example, it could be as simple as using the water sensors, the moisture sensors, and you can have in a few places. It's like literally like $100 or $200 of investment, but it can go long way. You can have you must have one sensor near your water tank, one under the kitchen sink, one near your dryer washer. Even 3 are like minimum. These are 3 are minimum. And then you can have one each in your washrooms, particularly if you are having a bathtub type shower. So you can put just one outside. It happened to me, myself. Like when my son was young, he was taking shower and he didn't close the curtain completely, and the water went out, and then it was brutal. But being a building tech, I could do it immediately. I opened up the ceiling, I cut the ceiling out, started drying immediately. So I could mitigate it immediately. But most of the people can't do that. That results in a big loss.
And is there any software that you're using within your company?
Yeah, we use actually a bunch of software. So one of the software which I like to talk about is Encircle. It's a data collection software. So all of us, me, my technicians, everybody has it on their phone, on their tablets, on laptops. When we collect any data like photo, video, 3D scanning, hygroscopic data, thermal images, we collect in that. So those photos and whatever the data we're collecting doesn't go on a device gallery. Number one. Number two, we share that homepage for every claim we are doing or every case we are doing. We create a homepage and it is stored in that. And then I share that homepage to the owner, because this is their intelligent property. All this data belongs to the owner, not to us. I share the raw data with them so they have access to it, and that access doesn't go away. I also share the same homepage with the insurance adjusters, and if sometimes the brokers are very close to the owners, and if the owner are delegating them to talk to us on their behalf, I also share. So everybody having the access to the data in real time. So if I took a reading when we are drying, every day we go take the readings, like how the progression is happening, they can see it right away. They can see the graph right away. If we are taking the proof of loss, cause of loss, they can see it right away. Also, we create all the forms, reports inside the Encircle, and that is also, they can see it in real.
I'm guessing a lot of AI could also, they might have a lot of AI features too, right? Like,
so Encircle is, in fact, they are integrating AI in it. That's happening on November 1st. As of like we just came back from a webinar, and there was a lot of recommendations we had given to them, and they are following on that, and I'm exciting to see like how things are going to change, and basically AI has a big role in mapping. Okay, let me come back to let me explain a little bit. So when we go into the house, we need to have the measurements of the area. And in old time, we used to do that with the tape, the laser tape or like mechanical tape, right? Nowadays, we use DocuSketch. So DocuSketch is a 3D camera. It uses there are a bunch of 3D cameras in the market, but DocuSketch is a software, right? So we use that to capture the measurement, the mapping, sketch, as well as 3D picture of that room. So you can literally see each and every article. How was it damaged because of water or not? Somebody might claim, oh, my 5,000 MacBook was on the floor and it got damaged. An insurance company will have friction with that. But if I go in and within first hour, if I'm documenting with a 3D, then everybody is on the same page. Then the proof is there. If indeed got damaged, then the owner doesn't have to shout from the rooftop. The proof is there. It has two applications to it. One is the 3D capturing, and as well as making the sketch. So sketch is it's a hybrid. So it's a little bit AI, but a lot of manual. So there is it goes to Nigeria. From Nigeria, there is actual draftsman who do the sketching and send it back. So it takes like a day. So Encircle is working on that. So it will be fully at home. So rather than one day to get back the sketch, it will be few minutes. That is a second thing AI is going to do, is make the list of the content automatically. Right now we do that manually. So when we do the content, the pack out, or I didn't explain you this, but when we start the drying, first thing, sometimes we have to remove the content out of that room, and it's a tedious process. We have to take picture of every article, make the evaluate it, and then put into the list. So we do that in Encircle. In coming time, the AI will do that. So it will be huge labor cost saving on that.
Yeah, this was really interesting, Navtej. I learned so much. This is all so new. This is really cool. Is there a way people can connect with you? Yeah, how can they reach out to you?
So best way is to my website, PuroClean.ca/Victoria, and it's we don't put a lot of real cases pictures because of privacy issue. Unless and until we have 100% consent, we don't put what we do. I know that it's nowadays a fashion or trend to put your work on but we don't do that because look, when we are going into a catastrophe, right? Doesn't matter how small or how big, and customer are already under panic, they are under stress. It's not a good to ask them, can I take pictures and put on my social media? It's like taking advantage of them, right? And I don't do that. So that's why, but there is a lot of information. There are a lot of tips how to avoid those kind of, even if you see in my LinkedIn, right? Even there are lots of tips to avoid as much as possible, right? We don't wish to people to have loss, right? We want people to avoid which is avoidable. And then there will always be stuff which is out of anybody's hand. Things gonna happen. then we want to be there.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Like it would be good for your business if it happens all the time, but this is like really nice. Like you are trying to help them prevent
Look,
it.
I don't want like I don't wish anybody to have like catastrophe, right? Things are going to happen. Even if it is 0.001% houses get damaged, it's a very huge number, and it happens more than that. And Ireland is literally underserviced. There is more than enough work for everybody who is working in the restoration industry too. And there is actually lack of professional restoration companies. There are a lot of people who are name themselves restoration, but they are not taking a certification. They don't have education. They think like, oh, the restoration means just start cutting out the walls and then start like putting fans and stuff. Now the things have moved from there. There's a lot of science up there. We do a minimum demolition, and there is ways to do that.
Yeah, very interesting. You're based in Victoria, right, Navtej?
Yeah.
How is the weather there?
Oh, it's a little bit more rainy than mainland.
Yeah, Vancouver is also very rainy since the past.
Yeah, it's even more rainy. But yeah, and it's humidity a little bit higher side, but same time it's pleasant too.
Do you think buildings need more restoration? I'm guessing it must be the case, like based on where they are located, like Vancouver, Victoria, like it rains a lot here.
Oh yeah. So look, we are right on the ocean, right? We are Pacific, and so we're gonna have the lot of moisture in the air. We are going to have a lot of salt in the air, and on top of that, we get 8 months of rain, right? So there will be like need to have building restored. Before coming to restoration, I was thinking only old houses need restoration. That's not the case. Even new buildings keep on needing. And a lot of time what happens, like builders use the wrong material for building. Like for example, a lot of buildings like I'm doing a building in Victoria downtown, very near to ocean, and it has a engineered hardwood, and that building has a air stream coming from ocean all the time, and within 3 years all the hardwood is cupping already because of the moisture. So that was the wrong material to have in that building. They could have gone with the laminated, which was like cheaper and easier to replace. Engineering hardwood is not hardwood, so hardwood can be saved without demolition if it gets like it faces limited flooding, not the huge flooding, but if there is a water loss, we can save it without ripping it out.
This is so interesting. So if I have to buy an apartment, I should call you to check out the apartment. Does it make sense?
Believe me, that's a really good idea. We advocate that. So look, we charge around $160 to $260 for inspection, but that goes very long way. And the house inspector, they don't do the attic inspection, they don't do the mold inspection, they don't do the biohazard inspection. We do that. We give the report, and if there is something, you can always, and the seller has to pay for it. So it's a good idea to get it checked, particularly when you are not paying for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you are paying for the inspection, but you are not paying for we find something, then it goes up on the seller.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, this was really interesting, Navtej. Thank you so much.
No worries.
I learned so much. Like next time, if I am going to buy an apartment, the Canadian market is.
You haven't touched 5% yet. We just talked about water. We haven't talked about mold. We haven't talked about fire, smoke. We haven't talked about biohazard. And I was thinking in the beginning that biohazard means I attended few cases where somebody deceased and they didn't find the dead body for like a week, and then there was like huge. But it's not just that. There's way more to it than biohazard, and it could be so simple. We just attended a hoarding issue in one of the apartments, and it has become so bad. We were there for 4 days. 4 days, yeah. And we took out like 4 full dumpsters of biohazard material from that apartment. And it could have been catastrophic for the health of the whole building if we wouldn't have done it properly.
And I'm guessing like Encircle is the software that you use all the time for any of these.
Yeah, I just talked about one software, but we also use the bunch of others. We use Exactimate for estimation. So this software is defined by insurance industry. So it's not like what we can like put anything as a cost. So it has to go through structure. It's a very structured. There are line items. So the insurance industry, they sit down every year and they decide what is the cost for the every line item. And then we have to do that. We have to create a scope through it and get it done through it. So like for me, that is for water and fire. But I also use for the non-insurance jobs, like for mold is not covered in insurance. But I use the same parameters for costing, what the Exactimate is offering. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
On island, the mold is huge issue. Like we get like every other home or third home has a mold issue here.
And mold is not covered by insurance.
It's not covered by insurance. So what we try to do is we try to charge them material and labor, rather than like we try to keep the cost low. We lose some money on it, but we try to like it gives us more visibility.
Okay, makes sense.
So there's a kind of investment on our part and community service, you can say that.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like based on the location, I thought the insurance around here would like cover mold.
No. So look, insurance, any insurance, not just home, life, or anything, it will cover sudden loss, right? Accidental or sudden loss. Like something happened, right? Within 1 or 2 days period, they will cover it. If mold happened because of that, so water loss happened, and the homeowner inform insurance company immediately, but there was a gap of 4 or 5 days and mold started growing. It can happen. So that will be covered. But if you have a mold problem going on for months and you were so neglecting that you didn't pay attention to it, the insurance company is not going to, they will deny the claim. Another thing which can get claim denied very often is foundation leaks. So there are two things everybody needs to pay attention, is to keep their rain drain pipeline away 3 foot away from the foundation. So the downcomer comes down and then there is a spout. The spout should be 3 feet away from the foundation. If it is feeding it directly to the foundation, then eventually there will be a breach of barrier. It could be crack or anything, and then water, if permeates inside the building and any loss happens because of that, that will not be covered by insurance. So it's a homeowner's duty to have it checked once in a while, like at least like every 5 years you need to see. And if you see a settlement, then you need to get that checked very quickly.
I think I've seen a lot of homes for which this is not the case.
Yeah. Look, people like because people don't have the idea. This even when I was not in the industry, and even despite being a engineer, I didn't have a lot of this knowledge. That's why we are trying to spread the word on our social media too.
Yeah, I think you should focus a lot on like do TikTok, Instagram, like all the like. It's funny, but like all the millennials, Gen Zs, the ones who are actually now going to get into like home buying, they don't know any of this. Like if
More
you are
business for
there,
us. Look, either you can proactive and learn it and implement it and save it, or you pay us first time and then we'll teach you. Generally,
yeah,
I kind of like have some few sessions when every time like I go and if there is like a loss is happening, so I have a lot of interaction with the homeowners, right? And I guess I'm a people's person, so during that my interaction time, I give them a lot of tips. So in future they should avoid this or that, like, and I also give them the scenarios like, okay, this happened, but this could happen too, and there is this and there is that, like kind of like That's my spiel to them to avoid this kind of like losses.
And Navtej, I have one more question. Like, why didn't you start your own company? Why did you become a franchise owner?
So look, this was totally new, right? And the PuroClean is very prestigious name. Just being associated with them guarantees success rate, right? Restoration is a huge. It's like an ocean right now. There are so many companies, and there are big companies like Balfour, Onsite, Paul Davis, and so to come up with a new company, let's say my own Pratic, the restoration, right, and to survive is very difficult. Secondly, our 80% revenue comes from insurance claims, right? For that, I need to be on their list as a preferred vendor. PuroClean is already partnered up with a lot of insurance companies. That opportunity wouldn't be available if I'm nobody, like if I'm just an entry, right? And secondly, now I have access to so much knowledge, so much information. PuroClean, the good thing I liked about them is they have very fixed demarcation of the geographic territory. So I'm catering from Duncan all the way South Island. That's my territory. Duncan North, Nanaimo is my other friend, Jason Ness. He's the owner there. In Richmond, it's Stephen Sai. In Vancouver, it's Gary Purewal. So there is a whole team there. And because of the proper the demarcation of the territory, we cooperate with each other. Let's say I need some equipments, I need some people, extra manpower. I can call Jason and say, hey, Jason, do you have any more dehumidifiers and air scrubbers? I need 4 of them. And if he has available, he can say, yeah, come pick it up. I can send my crew and pick it up. Last week, we needed somebody who can teach my new crew how to do content management. So he sent his manager. She came over here. She not only taught them how to do it, but she did it with them. So it was like actual working. So this cooperation cannot happen if you are if I'm a newbie, I don't know about the business and I'm starting on what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the mess of myself and I'll be out of business, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Navtej. This was really good.